Hi. A film that has attracted a great deal of attention recently that I finally got around to watching is Borat's subsequent movie film, sequel to 2006's Borat. Sacha Baron Cohen again co-writes and plays Borat, the Kazakhstani journalist, who again is traveling to the United States for the purposes of making a documentary, allowing him to interact with a range of real people who believe he's a real journalist or are led to believe that he's a real journalist, and expose a range of bigotry and ignorance among the less educated, less self conscious members of American society. um, in the original film, the focus was on him exploring America, but in this new film, he's been recruited by the Kazakh government to deliver a bride to Donald Trump, as a way of getting the country back in the international good books. And this plan evolves and changes several times over the course of the film. But notably, it pairs um, Borat up with his daughter Tutar, played by the Bulgarian actress Maria Bakalova, who was completely unknown before the film came out. She's been interviewed widely since then and is a young Bulgarian actress who's made a number of films and television programs in her native country. This is her first international English language production, and she matches Sacha Baron Cohen step for step in terms of uh, being able to improvise in character, um, going much further than anyone would think is appropriate in this kind of prank-based film. It's a very impressive performance. Baron Cohen is also very good, as he always is. He always shows extraordinary commitment to character. But the problem with the film, I think, is that it's really not anything we haven't seen before. There's very much a sense of preaching to the converted that anyone who um, is watching the movie probably feels similarly to the way the makers do, that these people were looking at are terrible and ignorant and lacking education, often very racist, often very sexist. There is the undercurrent to the film that America is run by dirty old men like Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and particularly Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer and former mayor of New York, who is involved in a climactic skit or stunt in which he appears to be on the verge of trying to force himself on Tutar herself until Borat intervenes and insists that Giuliani have sex with him instead. Um, it's quite funny, but I didn't guffaw in the same way that I did when I saw the first film. It has a point to make. It it gets there quite reasonably well. I think it's a shame that ultimately the message of the film is that America is one of the great devils of the world. I think something a bit more constructive would have been helpful. Obviously, this is expressed in terms of the primitive Kazakh culture, um, but we see throughout the film that there are these people are not without their good side. Uh, at a debutante ball, one man says, "Oh, that he would pay $500 for Tutar," and his daughter immediately upbraids him. Uh, Borat stays with a couple of rednecks in lockdown during the pandemic, and although they are seemingly quite gullible regarding far right propaganda, they're also notably egalitarian regarding women and contradict Borat's sexist misogyny. So it's lacking in the focus that it could have, which is a shame. I think it's a symptom of the circumstances in which the film was made. A lot of it was shot during the pandemic, although it was already in progress before that started. And although it's well acted and well performed, and there is in particular a third member of the English speaking cast, who I won't name, but whose appearance has been publicised rather broadly, which is quite surprising given the context. Um, it's not what it could have been. It doesn't have the freshness and the edge that the first film did, or that Baron Cohen's series Who Is America had. It's far from terrible, and it's pretty entertaining, but it's not. It's just not enough as it is, and that's, as I say, it's a real shame.